Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Move on to unfinished business. Item number 11, approve, deny letter of understanding with Ridgeview Medical Center regarding ambulance services.
Make a motion to table the resolution till our next meeting after our workshop.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilmember Batchor, second by Councilmember Gilman, to table item number 11, approve or deny the letter of understanding with Ridgeview Medical Center regarding its ambulance services. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay, caught up there? Move on to new business. Item 12, approve, deny invoice amount of $4,073.19 from Eckberg Tiling.
Is there any way we can get more information on this or what went down? I don't know if it's I don't even know if talking to Bolton and Mink's gonna help us, but, or we just, what we have is what we have.
I really look on it as for $4,000, we may have fixed a big problem, and that is getting better drainage out there. We can ask the whys and wherefores, and is there anything or any agreements in place? I was impressed with the way it was split out and presented to the council, as far as it's a shared responsibility here, and it's quite easy to, page through and find who's paying for what. I don't doubt for a minute that repair needed to be made. We've had drainage issues out there for 5, 6, 7, 8 more years, and nobody knew why until we started looking closer at it and found caved-in tile, found areas that couldn't be televised because there was an obstruction. And I just look at it as now we got it all fixed. Now, did that take care of a problem completely? I guess we'll have to wait till the next 7 or 8 inch rain. But
I understand what you're saying, Mayor. I would hate to think that the city did every bit of business they did like this happened. It'd be a very poor way of doing business for the city. That's my honest belief.
If I may, Mr. Mayor.
yes,
I think Councilperson Halsted has a good point. Now that we know that the city does not have an exclusive line going out of the pond, I think we need a new easement agreement and get maybe advice from Bolton and Mink on what the cost sharing should be for future repairs or replacements.
I have no problem with that.
Is there, there's gotta be a contract out there or whatever too, or the land purchase agreement or the swap or whatever it was.
And that would be with Bolton and Mink probably.
Huh?
I said Bolton and Mink probably would have the answer to that.
Well,
No, I mean when the land was given to the city or however, the
Oh,
agreement
okay.
there.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking
I
about.
thought you
I
meant
mean,
when the pond was put in.
well, and that too, I mean, it all kinda goes together, right? There's gotta be an agreement either when the land was given to the city and or who was gonna be taking care of that. And I mean, if we don't have that in front of us telling us what that is exactly,
I really think we need to look for that.
I would
really
like to
do.
see it.
the land was deeded to the city, the holding pond, and the city was given an easement to put in the line. Okay.
The line to
That's
it,
all
you mean.
recorded at court.
The line to it.
Yeah, and well, and I think the line out too. And that's where I think the presumption came up that the city had put in a new line going out. And if that was an exclusive city line, there needn't be any, further arrangement regarding cost sharing.
Oh, so the feeling must have been at that time that the 10-inch was adequate with the two, what did he say, 18-inch lines feeding into it?
6 inch, I think somebody said,
Yeah.
didn't they?
Thought he
6
said
inch
18.
tile.
It's
Going
a-
out.
No,
Two
the ones,
going in were 18.
Oh,
two going in were
One
18.
was 6.
Was
That's
it
my
six?
problem. We're
Yeah.
dealing
Well,
with a
no,
lot of
the color of
assumptions.
it shows blue.
Oh,
So coming out
I
of
don't
here,
have
the
that
blue
number.
that's
is,
all right, that's okay.
the blue is a
Okay.
10-inch cement. This yellow is the 6-inch, which
Here it is
kind of,
back. goes diagonally,
goes diagonally, but I don't think that that's, I don't think that that's,
but it's, 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 it's,
going into the pond. It almost looks like that's something else that, yeah, if you look at it right there, it appears as though the blue is coming out of it. I'm not sure what the yellow is doing. The yellow is the 6-inch.
The other one's that.
It's maybe draining into that.
That could
as
be
well.
another little low spot or something in the field. Who knows? That's where I was referring to is where did the farmer, where is the farmer hooked in, and could he at later date just tie into the blue line, just because you don't know what happens when tiling is being done. I mean they just rip them in and tie into wherever they know they can, and that possibly on a later date, the field itself could be tied into the 10-inch line, and then you'd have that water to deal with, plus the other water.
Well, I think it'd be interesting to know what Bolton and Menk's engineering study was when this was turned into a holding pond. Whether they were aware that there was a 6-inch line coming out.
I would think that they would have some history on that. I've done some work with them, and typically you can get the
Right.
information.
Which makes it puzzling, I guess, why this project was created the way it was. And as far as other tile line access, that should be part of any updated agreement. But I would say, knowing the history of that farm, the tile that's in place has been there for a long time. And if there'd been any need of further tiling, it would have been done by now. So,
Well, I mean, ultimately, like this here to me is like a breakdown, right? Whether you had a piece of equipment, the transmission went out on your truck, whatever it was, you may not be planning for it. It happened. Somebody had given the okay. Maybe the feeling wasn't that it was going to be $9,000, and it's almost a blessing as though that our portion is 4,000 something. I don't know that we have a choice but to pay it. I mean,
That's my thought too. I don't think we have a choice but to pay
No.
it, but
No,
I
but
just
moving
passed out,
forward.
yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
But
where
no,
the money's
and
coming from,
we
and
need
it
to
will
do-
be in the
yeah.
hole, but.
Well, I mean, this is, if I look at the whole year, I mean, granted, 2,000 was budgeted, and that was what was the same for 2019, and who's gonna know that? I mean, you're not budgeting for this breakdown, that may never happen. So it's hard to feel bad that, well, it's out of budget. I don't think anybody thought that the tile line was gonna break, and then all we had was 2,000.
But that's not the issue, whether we had 2,000 or 4,000.
It was the fact, yeah.
It's got absolutely nothing
Yeah.
to do with it.
But I think the gentleman that maybe made that call isn't here, and
We need to get him here.
Right.
We need to put this off and get him here so he can explain to us, and maybe Amy could have time to go back and look at if there was an agreement made, so we actually know what we're voting on, other than just assuming everything.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're doing right now. It's a total assumption.
I mean, I agree that they need to get paid, but
Do we know
this is not the first time that we've held payment until we gotten more
Right.
information.
Do we
We
know
need
what
that paper
is there
trail.
like net 30 or 45 days on this term,
The bill is in here,
or typically the
yeah.
invoices?
Was it
say
like-
that?
First date's 1/15.
They were doing it in,
Due date's 1/30.
Yeah, it
so
was
we're
due
past that.
15 days.
Wow.
We're already past our due date.
Well, some of that could be worked out in the future in the terms. We normally do much longer than that.
15 days isn't a lot of time.
15 is not very much at all.
But
That's like a cash payment there.
council, what would you like to do with item
I'd
number
like to make a
12?
motion to put this off till his next meeting, have Bolton and Mink come up and explain to us what went down, and at the same time, have Administrator Newsom check back and see what we have for any records in regards to maintenance or what happened.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Hattlestead, second by Councilmember Batcher to table item number 12. That would be to, at this time, take no action on the amount due to Eckberg Tiling for the repairs north of the Lynch addition. Further discussion?
Do we owe it to call Ekblad and share with them the, you know, kind of what's going on versus just leaving them
Eckberg?
there. Cause they actually might start charging interest on this.
That would be
More
fair, more
Just-
than fair.
It
to
would
do
just be a
that.
courtesy to do, I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
At least they know we're not gonna, this isn't gonna get drug out for 6 months, or
Next meeting.
give us 2 weeks to work it out.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Item is tabled. Item 13, approve deny the purchase of 6 slow children at play signs for Four Seasons Park and Frenzel Park.
This came from our streets committee meeting. If anybody that was at the streets committee meeting, which is Rick and Tom, if you'd like to speak about this as well. It was a suggestion to pay for, included in your packet, these signs, which are $29.98 a piece. The one that I had circled in the packet was the consensus of the group, and to purchase 4 of them for around Four Seasons Park and 2 for over by Frenzel Park.
Correct.
What about over by the hospital park?
We talked about that, and
Not enough action.
I think with the amount of traffic's there, we decided not to.
And typically slower speeds
Yeah.
in that area based on the street distances and the surrounding area. It just doesn't, it's not conducive for zipping through like it is by the other 2 parks by comparison.
For Joe and Laura, Chief John brought this up, you know, I even think more than a month ago, in regards to, because down at Four Seasons Park, there's so much parking on both sides of the streets, there's so many kids running around, some people are zipping up and down the streets, and we just kinda added Frenzel on, because it's 2 signs for $60-70, and for that money, why not put 2
Yeah.
up there? There are a fair amount of kids that play there,
St. Paul's Lutheran School uses
and
that.
yep, schools there.
I think they'll
So-
appreciate having signs there.
We talked about putting stop signs up, other difference, all kinds of ways, and I guess we thought the signs that Amy had shown would suffice in both locations.
So you decided against having like a drop to 20 miles per hour?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Any particular reason why?
Help me, Rick. There was a reason.
When Chief Pedersen made the comment about it being easier to enforce during events, during activity, we didn't necessarily feel that there was enough to put that type of patrol on during those events and activities, rather than just making it aware that there's gonna be activity happening at any given time. And so
Slow down.
the signs that we chose figured would suffice. We did talk about the ones that listed the 20 miles an hour in the yellow, on the yellow signage, but that's not technically a speed limit. That's enforceable. That's
It's a
just a
recommendation.
recommendation, and so there can be nothing ticketed in reference to that, so,
Well, can anything be ticketed with the slow children at play?
No,
no.
Nothing,
No.
okay. It's just a recommendation?
It's just a-
Yeah.
Okay.
awareness,
It tugs at their heart a little bit.
yeah.
Yes,
Well,
children, slow
and-
down.
And we
The
talked
majority
about,
of
I
people-
don't
speed right there.
No.
and we
I
talked
think
about the
99%
intersection,
of-
we talked about the intersection being controlled as well. There is a
There are
four-way
stop
stop
signs.
Yeah.
at the one intersection, there are, stop signs at the T intersections.
Yep.
So, the fact that there is enough in the area to slow people down is helpful. This is just an addition to help slow people down as well. So, and by that token, yeah, we threw in Frenzel because there's really nothing over there. The school uses it, and it was just a couple more signs, because that's just a one street that bypasses that one, so.
Okay, so the recommendation is for, the 4 yield signs?
And then, yes, I was just gonna say Kirby Weckworth was at the meeting and also asked if we could have 4 yield signs for East Clinton.
Right, yep, yeah, there are 2 uncontrolled.
The 2
intersections.
uncontrolled, that would take
Correct.
care of those 2
Yep.
uncontrolled intersections.
Correct.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the 6 slow children at play signs by Four Season and Frenzel and 4 yield signs on East Clinton at 2nd and 3rd Streets.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Batchor, second by Councilmember Hattlestead to approve the purchase of 6 slow children at play signs for 4 Seasons Park and Frenzel Park and 4 yield signs at East Clinton and intersections of 2nd and 3rd Streets. Actually, 2nd and 3rd Avenues. At a cost of $372.08. More discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Item 14, approve deny letter of support for Minnesota River Basin Water Storage Bill.
The mayor had passed along to me an email from this group, the Minnesota River Congress. They were asking, I included in your packet, either resolution, letter of support to help with funding in the state legislature to help with surface water storage. They're looking for funding for surface water storage. I wasn't ready for a resolution because we're not acting on anything, so I put together a letter of support if the council is okay with providing them with a letter of support.
They want $1,000, right? What's that?
Yeah, we're just looking to give them a letter of
Letter of
support.
support,
No money.
No money.
Oh, when I kept reading down.
Yeah, they'd asked for money, but I just did the letter of support.
Okay.
They're trying to slow the water down. It basically is entering the Minnesota River,
Oh, yeah,
you know. Slow it
I
down.
would
hold
probably
it-
talk for a
hold it
half
back.
hour if I got into this one, because I would say that I support it. I wasn't sure about the $1,000.
I wasn't either, so I left the thought. I just did the letter of support. So
Yes.
if,
Open to council decision.
I was
if
just
you-
say if you want to give them $1,000 or
That would be a major group discussion.
yeah,
Um,
that's why I just put a letter of support.
But yeah, if you're on the Mississippi where the Minnesota connects at the confluence up there by St. Paul, it is just dark chocolate brown and crystal clear water from the Mississippi, and that pattern just keeps on and going.
Mm.
It is on the Minnesota River all the way back this side of Chaska. Chocolate milk.
So yeah, when you get
Once
to
you
New
get towards
Ulm,
St. Peter, it's better. I've catfished that whole area.
yeah.
And the closer you get to the cities, the worse it gets to the point, yeah, it's chocolate milk.
Yeah.
There's no resemblance of, it isn't even water.
Is there a motion for support here?
I'll make a motion to approve the letter of support for the Minnesota River Basin Water Storage Bill.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Omrine, second by Councilmember Morgan to approve the letter of support to be submitted to the Minnesota River Basin Water Storage Bill. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Item 15, approve deny letter of support for Highway 212, Highway 5 corridor.
This was a similar request. We received a letter in the mail with a copy of a letter of support that Arlington had provided a few years ago in 2017. I wasn't sure. He just put his name on there and information about that meeting happening on February 7th. So I did call Glenn Grunhagem and say, do you know, is this what he wants, a letter of support? And he said, yes, he was going to that meeting, and that's what they were looking for, was just a letter of support.
Yeah, I was curious about, because it says a 4-lane highway.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they're talking 212 and hopefully
Yes.
not Highway 5.
No, no,
but
no.
yes.
212.
It's 212.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't call
That's what
that out.
That's what they
it's 212.
sent me. So that's just
I mean,
what
next
we
thing
put
you know, we've
together.
got, demolition all the way along here.
We're
They're
gonna get-
working very hard at getting funding for the next phase of it, which would be from Chaska to Cologne, I believe.
Cologne, I believe.
Yeah.
With,
Like 5 from Green Isle to 212.
This
and
year-
that's not part of, I mean,
It's
that's
getting
not part of
resurfaced.
this.
It's getting
It's-
resurfaced though,
This
correct?
year it's
It
going
is.
to be
Summer.
repaired.
Yep.
Okay,
Starting in, I believe,
5 is
late
gonna have
April.
work.
okay, good,
For sure.
rough.
I've seen the letters.
good.
It's
I
like,
drive it every day.
yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Mhm.
Needed to be fixed 5 years ago.
Right. Well, then I definitely make a motion to approve the letter of support for Highway 212/5.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Omrine, second by Councilmember Hattlestead to approve the letter of support be sent to the, I don't know what the organization is, I forgot. Anyhow, in support of Highway 212 and 5. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion's carried. Item 16 was added, and that is in regard to the issue that was brought up about the beer kegs being stored in the cooler.
I just wanted to give everybody an update on that. We had talked at the last meeting, if you remember, the dugout came and spoke about concerns about having to get those beer kegs out of there all the time. So we had come up kind of the consensus that we would chain them together so that some boys couldn't run out of here with one of them and bring it off to a party. And we called Corrine today, and she was all in favor. She was like, fine, yes, let's lock them together then. Because there's going to be 13 of them coming in here for the Pheasants Forever events this
they'll go through
week.
beer.
Yeah. So some are coming the end of this week. So I wanted to put it back on here. They were okay with it. So are you okay with administration going up and buying some chain and a padlock and giving one key to the dugout and the city keeping one of those padlock keys?
You need a motion?
Yes, why don't you actually?
I'll make a motion
That
for the
we
city
buy
to
that.
purchase a chain lock for the kegs that sit in the cooler in the community center. And the community center gets one key to the office and the other one goes to the vendor.
Perfect.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilmember Hattlestead, second by Councilmember Gilman to authorize city staff to purchase chain and a lock to lock the kegs of beer together in the community center cooler. One chain would go to the city office, the other to the vendor.
Key.
Key. What did I say?
Chain,
Chain.
but that's
Chain.
okay.
Key. Key for the lock. All right. Any more discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
I have one question for Amy. Who's gonna take care of that, or since I have time tomorrow, would you like me to go do some measuring and
No.
go get that
Would you
chain
be
and
willing
lock
to?
from Thomas Brothers?
Otherwise, I was going to send Michael on that task tomorrow.
Well,
to
if
figure out
Michael
how much.
has time, fine. If he doesn't, I'm more than willing to do it.
We can get in touch with you.
So
about
you'd
how much.
need enough of chain to,
Well, I'm gonna have to measure, to figure how much I'm
but to
gonna
do
need.
15 of them, or whatever it's gonna be.
Well, you're probably gonna have to figure 15,
Yeah,
so. I could either do it, but if Michael has time, that's fine. It makes me no difference.
Okay, I
I
might be in
just-
touch with you tomorrow.
Because
about-
this weekend is the PF banquet,
I know. and that's-
so the beer's gonna be
When it's
coming in
coming.
soon. So if Michael doesn't have time for 2 weeks, I can go get it tomorrow.
Tomorrow, okay.
You want me to just do it?
Yeah, would you actually, if you would be willing to go figure out how much chain we
I'll
need
come
to
here
buy.
tomorrow morning, do that, and then I
Yeah.
got a doctor appointment, but after that, I'll be here.
Okay,
We'll get it done tomorrow.
thank you.
okay, we'll move on to miscellaneous business, council member committee updates, Councilmember Omrine.
Streets
Anything?
committee was decided upon tonight.
Okay.
For the street signs. Did you wanna talk about the snow removal portion of the streets committee meeting?
Oh, okay, yeah, there was, I brought that up, after, a couple of times this year, or 3, I think, to be exact. The snow has been cleaned, and it's sat on Main Street piled up for 2 to 2.5 days. I got a call from a business asking why, my customers have to park diagonally, there's not room. I said, I'll check it out. So, I talked to Amy talked to Kirby, got it on the agenda. I went up and talked to 4 more business people, trying to see if, in businesses that had a lot of traffic in front of them, if there was a concern then on weekdays. Some were a little concerned, overall, not too terribly much. Kirby explained why he was doing what he did. It was understandable, so everything as is still.
Good.
I wasn't sure why they were doing what they were doing, and like I said, when one business called, well then, thought I'd better check it out.
Okay,
But all is well.
anything else, Councilmember Omrine? Would that be it?
That would be all.
All right, Councilmember Batcher?
We had a police committee meeting today, talked a little bit about, what did we talk about? This is long ago now.
Staffing.
Staffing.
We talked about, yeah, and the, ordinance on the predatory offender. So we're hoping to bring that to the planning and zoning committee on Thursday and then bring it back to the council at the next council meeting to get that in place, the final one. We have a temporary one now, so.
Okay, Councilmember Gilman.
Well, the fire department, as I said, is interested in more communication regarding the joint powers agreement and has asked that there be direct contact with all the fire departments that are potentially affected. So that is a request that they're making. And Ridgeview Sibley has announced that Pam Williams has been named the Regional Vice President for Ridgeview LeSueur and Ridgeview Sibley Medical Centers effective today. And they're hoping that she will have a pretty public face in the community in terms of Ridgeview.
What is her title again?
She is the Regional Vice President for Ridgeview LeSueur and Sibley Medical Centers.
So will that, they still have, Sibley Medical has, or Ridgeview Sibley Medical has an administrator yet, though?
Yes.
And that will be the same?
Yes.
All right. Councilmember Hattlestead, anything in addition?
I had a street committee meeting with Rick. That's the only committee meeting I had.
Okay. Councilmember Morgan.
I have not had any. It'll be, what, the 23rd, I think, the ambulance? Or
The 13th.
13th, yeah,
13th.
next.
You have a meeting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I did attend the Fireman's Relief meeting this past week. It was a very short meeting. They did approve, of course, of the city's contribution to the fire relief. It was, well, they gave various things like gambling report and the typical other reports, financial reports and such. Not in detail, but it was probably a 10-minute meeting. So, open discussion. Anyone?
I forgot one.
Yes,
I
yes.
attended the community education meeting,
Oh,
and
yes, yes.
there was a lot of discussion about developing more community education options in terms of programming and really engaging the public in having a voice in that.
Okay. All right, now we'll open discussion. Anything that council wishes to discuss that is not on the agenda? Hearing none, a motion is in order to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilmember Hattlestead, second by Councilmember Gilman to adjourn the meeting at 8:35.